So after every major natural disaster, you can bet some nutcake will blame it on anything but nature. Ghouls like Al Gore will blame man. It's how he pays the alimony. Now a professor of theology blames the tragedy in the Philippines on our use of fossil fuels. The dead aren't even buried yet. Here's what Susan Brooks Thistlewaite, 3 names for asshat, blames the tragedy on. Quote, the moral evil of climate change denial, that is. Those who would continue to deny in the face of mounting evidence that violent climate change is upon us, and it is accelerating. Now, it's foolish to expect science from crazy. She's so nutty, she qualifies as a Snickers bar. But her assumptions are no different than others who gloat over people's suffering. Ha ha, you denied climate change. How do you feel now looking at all those corpses? I hated it when evangelists would blame AIDS or earthquakes on sin, and I hate it now. It's done simply for the pleasure of the accuser to feel superior and right. No misery is too big to fuel your smug satisfaction. This shameful sickness still exists, but under a new religion, one of blind faith and flat earth hysteria in denial of actual facts. So congratulations on cementing your incorrect assumptions about man's role in causing typhoons. Grieving families are so happy to oblige.
Don't do it.
What?
Don't go to Bob first.
I'm not going to Bob first. Kimberly?
Oh, great, yeah.
Cyclones are caused by weather fluctuating and climate variability. All scientists agree. So why do these people say such stupid things in light of tragedy?
Everybody knows that. They must be really dumb.
Everybody does?
Everyone at this table that's smart, Bob. What I don't like is taking advantage of a situation like this, okay? I think it's just really sickening, the political opportunists that jump in to fill the void, to further their cause, and they're not even thinking about the casualties. They're not thinking about the lives lost, the families affected, any of it, and they don't have the science or the facts to back up what they're saying either, so it's like double shame.
You think we could just, and this argument is always dangerous at this table because Greg's a thug, but leaving that aside, let me give you some facts. These are just facts. Let's not argue it out. This is facts. The facts are that the Philippines, the water level was higher than it's ever been recorded when that typhoon hit. 1. 2, this year in Canada at the glaciers, when they receded so far that there were 2 islands that had never been uncovered by a glacier, and the moss on that thing all died from the sun. It was 44,000 years old and had never seen anything but a glacier.
Where do you get this from, Bob?
That's Scientific American. It's Scientific American. How about that? You want to try?
What does this have to do with the typhoon, Bob?
When Arctic ice grew
because the Arctic ice melts, it raises the water.
What does this have to do with the typhoon?
No,
what does this have to do with the typhoon?
Wait a second. The typhoon becomes much more dangerous with higher elevations of water.
Every single scientist, including people who believe in global warming, say that there has been no increase in cyclones, no increase in natural disasters since 1900.
I'm saying at higher water levels, whether it was Sandy or cyclones.
You're not listening to me.
I'm trying to listen.
It's false to link this to the emissions of greenhouse gases.
Oh, ridiculous.
Yes, I just gave you the facts, and that's from the IPCC report. You're just picking and choosing things. By the way, there's more Arctic ice than there has been in, what, 30 years?
It increased. And also this year's hurricane season was
44,000 years.
One of the mildest on record is the U.S. hurricane season. How do you explain that?
Dana, do you have global warming facts that you pulled out of your butt?
I actually I have some. What?
I was talking about Bob.
I have some theory.
How did Bob's back?
Global warming is the perfect excuse to not do anything for people living in the third world. It gives people a pass to say, oh my gosh, well, it's global warming. That doesn't do anything to help provide affordable electricity to people that are living there, so that they could have had more information, so that they could have gotten out of harm's way. With more affordable electricity that is steady, you have better education, you have better health care, you have better well-being, and you have the possibility of trade, which will actually help everybody. What this kind of thing does for the people that are global warming, I'm all like Obama now, global warming extremists. They basically raise money off of it, and this academic, that's absolutely true.
You're a global warming cover-up people is what you are, and you don't think down the road.
We don't have any facts.
That's
what do we have? Don't have facts.
I know more about it than anybody at this table put together. I worked on the chair. Chairman of the Energy and Power Subcommittee.
You don't believe there's global warming?
I actually do. but I don't necessarily think it's man-made. But here's another thing. If it is man-made, it's made by all men. So in China, Brazil, and India, are you going to get them to go along with your little plan?
No, absolutely not.
What have you done for the Philippines? Nothing. And that's why it's an excuse to not help people in poverty. What we should be doing is providing them with more fossil fuels.
I couldn't agree with that more, but it's also not an excuse to say that global warming doesn't exist.
Nobody at this table said that.
Excuse me.
Listen, I'll push back. I'll say that the Earth goes through warming and cooling cycles. We know that.
That is a fact.
In every 50 or 60 years, the cycle changes. I remember this. We talked about this before. Newsweek had the imminent ice age that was coming because the last 10 years,
with all the polar
globe
bears
was cooling.
dying.
Now it's warming. Okay, so it warms.
And now it's cooling now. We're going to have another 15 years of
6
cooling.
billion people putting stuff in the air is not going to cause it to warm.
Oh, my
You're
God.
so off. I love you. You're a good friend, but you're so off with this because the left is...
The science is so much on my side.
The left has realized that there's no science left.
You don't read it, Bob.
No, who's that idiot that speaks out of this all the time?
Finish the thought. You went away from global warming, remember? Because it wasn't working anymore. You started calling it climate change. You can't refute climate change, but you can certainly refute global warming. That's why they moved off that.
The idea that the globe is not warm because of man, it's like, it's just...
Yeah, call us flat earthers. Go for it, Bob.
It's been on a bad acid trip. I mean, you're crazy.
It gives you the perfect excuse to not do anything to help poor people.
Yeah, which is sad.
All right, we got to move on.